race to the White House has gained unprecedented attention. President Biden's health has made headlines, diverting focus from Donald Trump, the first ever convicted candidate running in the presidential race. The U.S. stance is significant to the world, causing global concern over the next president. Biden and Trump have vastly different views, exemplified by their approaches to the Russia-Ukraine war. Biden has been actively pushing for aid and support for Ukraine, whereas Trump rejects this approach, showing solidarity with Putin. This explains why Russia would prefer Trump. As per a Reuters report, U.S. intelligence official disclosed on Tuesday that Russia continues to favor Donald Trump in the upcoming presidential election over Joe Biden. Russian President Vladimir Putin also recently shared his views on the U.S. presidential debates and the potential leadership of Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Despite concerns over Biden's debate performance, Putin stated his individual preference for Biden remains unchanged, emphasizing the U.S.'s significant global influence.
2 months ago, I had the chance to ask you who is better for us, Biden or Trump. You said Biden at the time. But now it seems that this bet is in question, because after the recent debates in the U.S., everyone is simply horrified by Biden, and his participation in the election race is in doubt. Perhaps you managed to see some fragments of these debates. What are your impressions, and, so to speak, have your political preferences changed?
You said, this bet is in question. Nothing is in question. I said then, what has changed? Nothing has changed. Was it unknown to us what could happen? It was known. In this sense, nothing has changed.
Regarding Donald Trump, Putin took Trump's promise to end the Ukraine conflict in a day seriously, though he questioned the specifics. He also acknowledged Trump's stance against NATO's eastward expansion, aligning with Russia's interests.
Still, regarding the debates, and specifically the statements of Donald Trump, he has repeatedly said during the debates that he is literally ready to end the conflict in Ukraine in one day. There are also reports that Trump could stop the expansion of NATO to the east. How seriously do you yourself take such promises?
You know, the fact that Mr. Trump, as a presidential candidate, declares that he is ready and willing to stop the war in Ukraine, we take it quite seriously. I am not familiar, of course, with his possible proposals on how he intends to do this. And this is, of course, the key question. But I have no doubt that he says this sincerely, and we support it.
Contrarily, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy commented on Tuesday that Russian President Vladimir Putin dislikes both Biden and Trump due to their support for democracy. Zelenskyy made these remarks during a Q&A session following a speech at the Reagan Center in Washington, D.C., held alongside this week's NATO summit.
He doesn't love America. And he hates Ukraine. And because he hates democracy. And Biden and Trump are very different. But they are supportive democracy. And that's why I think Putin will hate both of them. I think so. But I think that both of them have to understand it, not to count on his attitude.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has blamed the West for elevating Russia's status, describing it as a small, really small.
Because the GDP of United States 10 times bigger than Russia. And it means that you can't attitude to Putin as he is a partner. He's small, really small. But when we afraid him, he began to be bigger. And that is the mistake of all the West, including us, including the United States. That is the mistake that during last 25 or how many years he is Putin. Yeah.
Zelenskyy also addressed concerns about the potential impact of a Trump administration on the ongoing war in Ukraine. He expressed hope that US policy toward Ukraine would remain consistent, regardless of the election outcome.
I hope that that United States will never go out from the NATO. Otherwise, the world will lose a lot of countries, because such people like Putin. We will lose small countries which count on America in NATO, American leadership.
He warned that a US withdrawal from NATO could jeopardize the security of smaller countries reliant on American leadership, including the Baltic states and Poland.